As we're
all right, seeing the first arrivals of the soldiers to that level 1 trauma unit right now, we have the opportunity to talk by phone to someone named Eric Boyle. Eric was at Fort Stewart when the shooting happened, went into lockdown as officials went into action. Just to be clear, as we listen to you talk to us, Eric, you do not live on the base, but you work on the base as an electrician. So take us to those moments right after you first got word. What did you see and what did you hear, Eric?
They contacted us and just told us that there was an active shooter on base, and we were coming off lunch, and they just put us in lockdown. We couldn't go nowhere. But hopefully all the people that were involved is okay, and their families. Stuff like this should not happen.
And you were there when it happened and when those alerts went out. Other than the alert, did you hear any gunfire, and what did you see?
Well, we hear gunfire all day long because we're on the range, but we didn't actually hear. I was in my car, so I had the radio on. I didn't hear the actual shots, but it's right down the road. They closed the main gates and shut everything down.
So did the alert, Eric, go over the radio that you had on?
They called us, our general contractor, and then called our supervisor.
And then when alerts like that go out, you quickly look up over your steering wheel and your dash, and you see the situation changing in real time. Paint a picture for our viewers of what you saw happen in response to that alert there.
We just make sure everybody was around and gather, to our meeting site and make sure everybody's safe that's in our area.
A lot of people see these things play out on the news and they think, well, this could never happen where I am, especially behind the tight security of an Army base. It had to have been a moment of shock to think that there was an active shooter situation inside that perimeter, Eric.
Yeah, definitely.
So where are you right now, and what's next for you today?
I guess we're just going to finish the day, and we're off of lockdown now. They told us, everything was clear. The shooter was apprehended, and I hope everything's okay with the, people, the victims.
Right, absolutely. Well, we appreciate you talking to us, Eric, an electrician at Fort Stewart, there inside that perimeter during the shooting. We're glad you're okay. All right, let's go to correspondent Shanelle Kaul, who continues to watch all of the latest developments on this story closely. Shanelle, what do you have?
Well, 2 of the soldiers we now know arrived at Memorial Hospital in Savannah. This happened at about 1:20 this afternoon, Reed. This, we should mention, is the area's only level 1 trauma center, which may tell us something about the severity of their injuries. There was a bit of a delay, as we know, in getting them there because bad weather essentially prevented a helicopter transfer. So they were taken to this hospital by ambulance, which obviously took longer. Now, those 2 soldiers we know were among 5 people who were shot during this incident at Fort Stewart this morning. The 2nd Armored Brigade Combat Team, they went into lockdown just around 11 o'clock this morning. This team, we've been talking about this, Reed, is known as the Spartans. They've been trained to be the Army's most modernized, most lethal unit. Let's talk about what happened during that lockdown. The Army had advised people that were there on the base to stay inside, to close and to lock their doors and windows. And the last time we spoke, Rita, I showed you that video of what it looked like inside the base at that time, and you saw some of those military members mobilizing and walking quickly through the base, trying to respond to this active shooter situation. We know by 11:35, the active shooter was apprehended by the Criminal Investigative Division of the Army, and then about 40 minutes later, the lockdown was lifted for the main containment area, but the 2nd ABCT complex, that is still, as I understand, in lockdown for now. But we are being told that there is no public safety threat at this point. In fact, there were lockdowns at 3 elementary schools that are actually on that base. Those lockdowns, Reed, were lifted. You just had been speaking to someone who was on that base, a military member that had witnessed this moment, and he talked about this really powerful moment of hearing gunfire on the base sort of all the time because they've got shooting ranges there. Right. And so we're just starting to understand what it was like to be there during those probably terrifying and a bit chaotic moment. I also want to point out that we're hearing that there may be a press conference later on this afternoon, so we're hoping to learn more and piece the story together, and we'll take you there live as soon as that begins, Reed.
That's right. Shanelle Kaul, thank you for that. We'll talk to you in just a few minutes.